What's up, nerds? My name is Cory Bergeron. You are watching Cory Bergeron Recordings, and we are back with a brand new video after a short little break. There's no reason for the break, just stopped making videos. Whoops. We're back. Season 2. Okay, I'm making this video because I have reached a new milestone, and that is that I have earned $100,000 Canadian via the Fiverr platform, being a Fiverr seller offering music production services. It took me completing 650-ish orders over the course of 2 years and a bit, and I've actually earned the majority of those earnings in the last 6 months of 2022 after doing some experimentation and trying to essentially maximize the amount of traffic and volume of orders on my profile. So I've learned a lot, it's worked for me, and I'm hoping to share that with whoever's interested. Hopefully it's insightful, you learn something, you apply it, and you make yourself some cash. So this video is going to be breaking down some tips of what I recommend to do to be successful on Fiverr. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already know what Fiverr is, but if you don't, it's the world's largest digital marketplace. It connects buyers with freelancers that offer services over the internet, and you can pay them to do things for you. Okay, let's jump into it. The first thing I recommend to have some success on Fiverr is that you actually need to have some sort of skill that someone is willing to pay for. Don't worry, the points get better. Recession, inflation, economic downturn, you gotta earn some extra cash. I've seen a bunch of side hustle videos where people talk about, the latest, greatest side hustles and how to earn some cash on the side. And you can definitely do that on Fiverr, but you need to have a skill set that someone is willing to pay for, and that's the bottom line. If you have a skill set or you're willing to learn a skill set, you can absolutely make money on Fiverr, but you need to actually offer value to people. The second thing I have written down here is that you need to learn to love the algorithm. Who doesn't need another algorithm to please? Really simply put, when you're in the algorithm's good books, you will rank high when buyers are searching for a service that you offer. So you want to make sure that you rank high, because when you rank high, then people will click on it, they will buy it, and then you get more volume and live, love, laugh, life goes on. You can do this by doing very obvious things like delivering high quality work consistently. You have to meet deadlines, you have to be prompt when replying to people when they have questions, and you have to exceed expectations. When you fulfill someone's order, they will leave a public review, and then you can review them as a buyer. But after that, there is a private review that isn't public because it's private, and it is only for the buyers. So once a buyer accepts an order, they rate you 5 stars, you rate them 5 stars, cool, and then they are prompted somewhere within the next 48 hours with a private survey, and it says, hey, how was your experience? Don't worry, this isn't public. Essentially, they can rate you out of 5 stars, 5 stars being that the seller exceeded expectations, and that's what you want to hit. So obviously, if you go above and beyond, you do a good job, they will do that. But what I've also started doing, this is through the recommendation of someone at Fiverr, you can go ahead and send them a message after you've completed it. Say, hey, thank you. It was, a pleasure to work on your project. If they've left you a tip, say thank you for your generosity. I appreciate it. And you can also prompt them with a message telling them that Fiverr's going to send you a private review somewhere within the next 48 hours. And it would mean a lot to me if you took the time to fill it out, as it helps build my profile. It's an easy thing to do. It feels a little bit like you're selling your soul. It is important because those have a huge impact on where you rank in the Fiverr algorithm. So that's one part of learning to love the algorithm. The other thing you can do is you can optimize your gigs. When you create a gig on Fiverr, they allow you to use 5 keywords. What I would recommend to do is become part of the Seller Plus program. So that does 2 things that I think are very valuable. It gives you access to more analytics so you can see what people are searching, as well as it gives you access to a customer success manager, which is someone at Fiverr that essentially is appointed to you, and you can ask them questions, and they can see even more analytics than you can see. So with the first thing there, you can see what are the top ranked searches within a category. Let's say you do mixing and mastering. When people are looking for mixing and mastering, what is the top keyword that they search? And then you can reverse engineer that, take those keywords, put them as the tags in your gig, and then you'll get more traffic to your gig. That's one thing you could do. The other thing is, when you're part of the Seller Plus program, you're allowed to have a one-on-one video chat with your customer success manager once a month, and I recommend doing it as often as they will allow you to. You can ask them, what can I be doing better? It's super valuable because they can see, again, more analytics than you can. They can essentially tell you everything you need to know to rank higher. I'll touch on a couple things that my CSM told me that I could be doing better on some of our initial calls. One of the first things was that I needed to fill out my FAQ section. I neglected it it for no real reason, but it's amazing the questions that you can answer for your client before they even reach out to you, which makes them feel comfortable and more likely to follow through and convert and purchase a gig. Another thing my CSM mentioned was that my thumbnails kind of sucked, which they did. I just took random photos of me in the studio, but it works a lot like YouTube, where you want to have your face there and you want to be smiling and you want to show that you're a real person and that you're personable and likable. And so I took a cheesy photo of myself, as well as I tried to color code my different gigs depending on what type of service they were. And then the third thing is that I need to exploit and explore my gig extras. So you want to find ways of adding add-ons that can provide, again, value to the buyer. And so I did that. Always be optimizing your gigs. Moving on to the next thing that you can be doing to have success on Fiverr, and this is more so for the people that are just starting out, for the new sellers on the platform. I think it's important to start by undercharging to get as many people through the door, do quality work, just because they might be paying less than what you think your time is worth. Still go through and do a high quality job, and then slowly raise your prices with demand. By doing this way, you'll attract more people, you will complete gigs faster, which will help you build your Fiverr profile. It'll help you rank higher, and then as you rank higher, you can raise your price and then charge what you think is fair. I think it's important to determine your highest value skill and focus on that. I can speak from experience. I provide, music production as a general blanket term, but that's a lot of different things. And I've determined that for me, mixing and mastering is what I do best, and it is what I can charge the most for. It's also what I enjoy doing. I have offered, I'll play guitar on your track, I'll play bass on your track, I will tune your vocals, I will edit your drums, and I still do that a little bit. And the truth is, I don't make as much per hour of time that I'm working by doing those things. So fortunate to be in a point where the majority of what I do is mixing and mastering. Those gigs are booming. So over time, I think it's important to kind of shed the gigs that you don't like doing, that are low value skills, where there's a lot of people that can do them. There's a lot of competition. There's a low ceiling on how much you can charge for what you're doing, and focus on what you do best. Moving on to the next thing I've written down here that I think is important to have success on Fiverr is that you need to have a social presence outside of Fiverr that directs clients to the platform. This is great for many reasons, but especially for people that are just starting out. You're able to run some clients through Fiverr. It will help you please the algorithm and build your profile faster. But you'd be amazed at how many people have reached out on Fiverr because they've seen one of these YouTube videos on this channel. No surprise, there isn't a large viewership on this channel, but I've had tons of people reach out and be like, hey, I watched the video on XYZ, and would you be interested in mixing my track or doing this or that? Having a social presence, it speaks for itself, is a great way to attract people to your Fiverr profile. And then once you have them in there, you provide quality work. Fiverr says, nice, you're providing quality work. And then it sends you more people that are on the platform. And maybe those people subscribe to your YouTube channel, and it's like a whole ecosystem you got going on. Obviously, don't neglect Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and whatever the kids are also using. Okay, moving forward here. I have written down, always aim to automate repetitive tasks and create efficient systems to maximize quality output. Really sexy sentence. You don't hear artists or people that work in the arts speak like that very often, but it is important. If you are a professional that provides a service and you get paid for every time you complete a project, the only way to generate more money, there's two ways, is to one, charge more for what you do, or to get more volume. And you can do both of those things slowly, but eventually there's a ceiling on how much you can charge, determined by the market. So it's important to be able to do things efficiently. This doesn't mean cutting corners. This doesn't mean doing a bad job. A couple examples of this in what I do is, obviously when I'm mixing tracks, I have a template. I also have the luxury of working in a studio with other people that work here, so I can give them tasks. I can get them tuning vocals while I'm editing drums or laying down samples on a track while I'm mixing it, and then by the time I'm done that, they send me the files. I can mix the vocals in, and we can output quality work fast. That's what you want. The triangle where it's like good, fast, cheap? You want to be good, fast, and fairly priced. That's where you want to aim for. Everyone around me knows that I kind of think like a robot sometimes, and this is something that I think is so important. You got to be really critical of all your systems. If you're able to save 30 minutes a day by doing things in a different way, that is so valuable. If you're able to buy, a plugin or software that speeds up a workflow, that is worth every single penny. The next thing I have written down here is don't be afraid to explore promoted gigs. A lot of people are hesitant to spend money because there's no guarantee that they will make the money back, but in my experience, I have spent $189.55. And that has returned me $8,170, which is a good investment. Once you've attracted that person to order whatever service you have, if you do quality work, you exceed their expectations, everything I've said up until this point, they will be a returning client. And that money continues to work for you. So don't be afraid of exploring promoted gigs. It takes money to make money. The next thing I have written down here is to go pro. If you have the means of becoming a Fiverr Pro, I highly recommend to do so. I've been a pro for 3 months, and woo! There's an application process. They ask for specific things. Someone manually looks at it, and then puts you in your own separate tab where buyers can search for just Fiverr Pros when looking for a service. So you get an advantage. Highly recommend it. I will make a video probably at some point talking about my experience after I've done it for a little longer. At this point, it has been fantastic. So the last thing I've written down here is to have a long-term outlook and to continue to develop and expand your skills. Your Fiverr profile is not going to be built overnight, and it takes time to kind of optimize it and to experiment. And you always want to be developing your skills. And Fiverr is a great way to do so. If anyone out there does music production in any capacity, I highly recommend getting on Fiverr, because what it does is it keeps you working. I have lived a life being an audio engineer, being a freelance producer, being a freelance mixing engineer before Fiverr, and I would get projects, and I was able to make a living for a long time doing so. But since jumping on the Fiverr train and continuing to do that, I am busy. I have projects all the time, which is great because when you have projects, you make some money. That's a good thing. But also, you are constantly working on stuff, so your skills are getting sharp at an accelerated rate. When you are mixing tracks every single day, multiple songs every single day, you get better at mixing. So not only can you make a little extra cash, you also get better at what you do. What else do you want? There is an unorganized video. I made 100 grand on Fiverr, and I just shared some of my invaluable tips on how to have success on the platform. When I grew up and I was like playing guitar and I was like, oh, I want to play in a band, I want to make music for a living. I never thought about, doing so via like a platform like Fiverr. And to this day, it doesn't sound very rock and roll. But once you get that out of your head, it's a great way to constantly be working, to meet people, to work on stuff that you want to be working on, to continue living a life where I get to make music for a living, which I've been able to do successfully. If you're interested in me making a video talking about how I became a Fiverr Pro or a top level seller or anything else related to Fiverr, let me know in the comments. I will read them if there are any, and I will answer them. There we go. That's the video. I made one. I will see you in the next video, and I will talk about more audio production things. 2023, big year. Woo.